Hello and welcome to another Tabletop Ramblings Middle-earth strategy battle game battle reports. Fighting in the arena of death, it is 400 points of the Fellowship against 400 points of Thorin's company. Thorin's company is led by Thorin himself with the Oaken Shield. He has his two strong fighters, Gloin and Dwalin, the burly two-hander. And he is going to be supported there by Bomber and Oin. Leading the Fellowship is Aragorn. He has a bow and armour. And he's accompanied by Legolas, who is wearing armour and a cloak, and Gimli. And then they're supported by the killing machines that are Merry and Pippin. The scenario is incredibly simple in this arena. It is simply wipe out the other side. There's no breaking or quartering. It is simply wipe out the other side. The Fellowship are going to be rolling green dice and are going to be taking the role of good. And Thorin's company will be evil and will be using the red dice. So without further ado, first turn priority. And it goes to Thorin's company. End of turn 1 movement. Thorin's company have advanced. The Fellowship then advance themselves with Gimli and Legolas coming up, but Aragorn sprinting full pelt and joining combat with Thorin. Before we jump into the combat phase though, Legolas is going to fire 3 shots straight into Oin, the Thorin's company healer. He's moved, so he's hitting on 4s. Ooh, and all 3 hits. That's a good start. He is wounding on 5s. Ooh, that is a strong start there. That's a wound. He is just a 2 wound, 1 fate. He could kill him outright there if he burns all of his might. And he's going to do it. He's going to go absolutely nuts and burn 1 and then 2, 3 might. Legolas out of might, but he has killed Oin. That is a instant flash kill there. Could come back to bite Legolas now out of might, but Oin is the healer and provides banner support for Thorin's company, so that is well worth 3 points of might. Then after that insane shooting from Legolas, Gimli is going to try and copy. He is going to throw an axe straight into Dwalin's face. Oh, he hits. 6s to wound. A 5. He is also going to spend a point of might. He is burning a point of might to turn that up to a 6. And that is a wound on Dwalin. A ferocious first turn of shooting. And a lot of might spent. In fact, before we go into the fight phase, Gloin actually has throwing axes for Thorin's company, and he is going to throw into Legolas. But he misses on the 3. So now it is the combat phase. Into the combat phase, and Thorin and Aragorn are both calling heroic strikes. Thorin using a point of might, and Aragorn using his free. We'll do their strike off. Oh, and it goes there to Aragorn. He is fight 10. But on just a 3 there, Thorin is only fight 9. So, not so good for Thorin. He, knowing that, is going to shield. So he will roll these twice. He's got a 5. Only a 5, but he does have might. So then Aragorn, if we can find where all these dice have gone, here we go. So Aragorn, his 3 attacks, absolutely bottles it on 3 1s. That is atrocious there. Now Thorin is really wishing he'd not shielded. That is abysmal work from Aragorn. So Thorin, having won, pushes Aragorn back, and then because he has the Oaken Shield, even though he's shielded, he's able to make one strike at his base strength 4. So he wounds on 5s. Oh, just a 1, and Aragorn backs away. The army bonus for Thorin's company is anyone within 3 inches of Thorin can reroll 1s. So he is going to reroll that 1 as he is within 3 inches of himself. And it is a wound. Aragorn takes a wound. He's going to take that and save his fate for later. So a strong start with ranged weapons there for the Fellowship. But in combat, Thorin punches Aragorn square in the face with a big lump of oak. This is going to be a very interesting battle. Let's roll for turn 2 priority. And it goes to the Fellowship. Galadriel interrupts this video to say that Frodo has seen endless 6s in the future for all those that like, comment and subscribe. With Fellowship priority, Bomber is going to call a heroic move. That's because he wants to save the might from the striking heroes, but the Thorin's company do still want to move out of this bottleneck. If the Fellowship can keep them trapped in there, they will eventually wear through, as Aragorn has his infinite might. And if they can get through, they'll be able to kill these easier to kill hobbits and try and start getting some traps. That's their logic, and Aragorn is going to try and counter it with a move of his own. So it's a roll off. 1, 2 or 3, it goes to Bomber. And it goes to Aragorn anyway, so he is moving forward, and the rest of the Fellowship will come back after that movement. Very simple Fellowship movement. It's just going straight forward into the bottleneck. It's what the Thorin's company didn't want to happen. And the last one to move is Gimli. He is going to throw his throwing axe. He hits. Oh, a 5. He probably does not wound there. Oh, in fact, no, he's going to spend a point of might. He's going to go for it, and he spends a point of might, which is now the last wound off Dwalin. So he's going to have to fate it. And he does. That wasn't very cocked. It's a 4, so he is down to 1 wound, 1 fate. But that is 2 might now off Gimli. But his throwing axes have been incredible. So the only one left to move is Bomber now. And he's got nowhere really to go. So he's just going to chill out there and do nothing. In fact, Bomber is going to move around. And he's going to roll to climb over. And it's a 4. So he is over, ready to either trap or start killing some poor defenseless hobbits. The hobbits have moved, so they can't throw stones into Bomber. So it will go into the combat phase. And Gawain is striking, but Legolas is out of might and can't strike back. Thorin and Aragorn are both striking. And then Dwalin is going to strike against Gimli. And Gimli is going to call a heroic defense. We'll start off with that fight. So it's 3 attacks on 3 attacks. What does Dwalin get in the red? Oh, Dwalin doesn't win the fight. Gimli there on the 6 has won. So Dwalin is going to spend his last point of might, because he only has 2 for some strange reason. He has won the fight there with his last point of might. And he needs 6s because of the heroic defense. No wounds on Gimli. Gimli is pushed back. The next fight along, in fact we'll do this one next. It is 3 attacks from a heroic striking Gloin, which means he's automatically won this fight. It'll be a higher fight value, or at least he's automatically won on a draw, of course. He has 3 attacks. Legolas has 2. Oh, and Legolas not good there on the 3 high. He has armor, so he is defense 5 against strength 4. He's getting wounded on 5s. Oh, rubbish! But 1s can be re-rolled. Oh, into a wound. And then Gloin, that 4. No, Legolas has got 3 fate, so he is not going to waste that might. He's going to be a little bit more savvy with his might, and that's just a wound off Legolas. The final fight then is Thorin against Aragorn. They're both called heroic strikes, so we'll roll for them now. And again it goes to Aragorn, but will he absolutely fluff it again? This time Thorin is not going to shield. He is going to go big and he's going to cut Aragorn in half. Who's going to win? Oh, and again Thorin absolutely wins that, hands down. Aragorn doesn't have enough might to win the fight. He has used his free to call the heroic move, and then he has struck up, so he doesn't have enough might to win the fight. That is bad there from Aragorn. So needing 5s to wound Thorin. Oh dear, 2 1s. They are re-rollable. Can't re-roll a re-roll, so that one doesn't do anything, but that is another wound off Aragorn. Aragorn there backs away, and he's going to take that and save his fate for later. End of the fight phase, and Aragorn is bleeding now with only 1 wound left. Lots of might has been spent. This has been a very brutal, bloody game so far. But now Bomber, having hopped over the fence, is going to get ready to be a one-man wrecking ball around the back of the Fellowship line. Let's roll for the next turn priority. And again, it goes to the Fellowship. With very little might on either force now, but with Aragorn getting 1 free every turn, Thorin's company need to act fast. So Gloin is going to call a heroic move, which will allow Bomber to try and heroic defense and tie up the 2 big hitters, Gimli and Aragorn. Aragorn is going to counter with a move of his own. So this is a very big roll-off. 1, 2 or 3, it goes to Gloin. On a 4, 5, 6, it goes to Aragorn. And it's a 1. Gloin gets to go first. And the first thing he does is he's going to charge Gimli with a throwing axe. I say Gimli, I mean Legolas. And he has gone straight in. Doesn't wound, but he gets to wrap round. And that is a very big move there for Thorin's company, as now Bomber can roll in on them, and importantly we can get the 2 massive hitters there in on Legolas. We'll come back after Pippin has worked out where he can go. Start of the fight phase, and it is all or nothing for both the Fellowship and Thorin's company. Bomber has called a heroic defense, and Aragorn has called a heroic combat. He is going to try and win and then somehow kill Bomber. The odds are very, very slim, but it has to be done, because if he's able to, he'll be able to try and rescue these chaps over here. Thorin has heroic struck against Legolas, meaning that it is going to be some serious pain there on Legolas. And of course, Merry against Gloin is not going to be too good for the Fellowship either. That will put the forces of Thorin's company completely out of might after this turn, so they need this to come off. It is going to be a big, big turn. We'll start off though with the heroic combat, and we'll set the bar with the heroic defense Bomber. He only gets a 3. That is not good. Aragorn here gets 5, and that is high enough to win the fight. So first off, needing 6s, because his heroic defense will do Pippin. Oh, and Pippin gets a wound on him! Pippin, you little legend. So that is 1 wound. We'll leave a 6 there to remind us. Pippin has done a wound to Bomber. We then have 3 attacks from Gimli. Oh, that's another wound. And then we have 3 attacks from Aragorn. Oh no, that is no wounds there. That is not good. Bomber is very, very unlikely to go down to that. We'll just double check how many wounds and fate he's got. Bomber is an absolute tank with 3 wounds, 1 fate. So he takes those 2 wounds and he'll save his fate for later. The next fight then, because it's Fellowship's Priority is going to be Merry. If Merry by some miracle can win, then he'll push Gloin back and give Legolas a fighting chance. So, oh, wrong way around on the dice. We've got 3 for Gloin and then Merry. Oh, Merry on the 1. That is not good. On a 3 high, Gloin has 1. And then he wounds on something daft like 4s, 5s. We'll check in a moment. Oh, but definitely that. 2 6s and a 5. Nothing Merry can do. He is toast. That is a dead hobbit. Next, then, we have Thorin and Dwalin. Thorin strikes. Oh, only 2 7s, so he's not going to be fainting. But he is 3 attacks, and Dwalin is 3 attacks as well, and they have the fight value. We'll let Legolas set the bar on a 6. He's doing something right there, but will Dwalin and Thorin beat that? So Thorin, just a 5, and he's out of might. And then Dwalin. Oh, Dwalin gets the 6. This is probably the end of our pointy-eared archer. So Thorin is wounding on 5s. He has done 3 wounds, and then Dwalin is wounding on 4s. And he has definitely finished Legolas off. They back away because they trapped their opponent, and that is Legolas dead. This is looking bleak for the Fellowship, but it is still anyone's game, as now only Aragorn has might. A very important priority now. And it goes to the Fellowship on a 6. They are going to have a long think about what they're going to do, and then we'll come straight back in. First things first, Pippin is going to charge into Bomber, and then Gimli is going to throw an axe on his way into Dwalin. He hits, but it's just a 1, and he doesn't wound. So he charges into combat, and then Aragorn charges into Gloin. Start of the combat phase, and Aragorn will be heroic striking against Thorin and Gloin. But first off, let's do Bomber against Pippin. Oh, Pippin wins there on the 6. Go on, Pippin, have him. And it's a 6 to wound. No, just a 4. Bomber is pushed back. We'll then do Gloin against Gimli. Not Gloin, sorry. Dwalin against Gimli. They're both going to be using 3 attacks. That's 2-handed burly for Dwalin, and the 3 attacks, but no extra to wound or anything for Gimli. They're even fight. Oh, but it goes to Gimli there on the 5. Dwalin only getting a 3. So Gimli now really needing to kill. He's wounding on 5s. Oh, and he's got a wound. That is a wound on Dwalin. Dwalin is 1 wound, 1 fate at the moment. He needs this to be a 4+ to survive. It is. It's a 5. He is down to 1 wound, no fate. Gimli there has smacked him up, but not enough to kill. And then we have this big fight here. Aragorn, will he get high enough to be able to feint? Oh, yes, he's fight 10, so he will feint. And we'll let him set the bar. If he gets a 6, he's won. And he does. He has won that fight. So he is going to go after... Oh, he's going to go after Gloin, because he is easier to kill. It's 6s on both, but Gloin has a lot less wounds and fate. So 6s, no. Absolutely fine. But at least the Fellowship have done enough there to stay in the game. We'll go straight into priority. Oh, and on a draw, this time it goes to Thorin's company. With Aragorn out of might, he's going to save his free for a heroic move. So that means that Thorin's company can move uncontested. So that's going to be Bomber into Pippin, and then a throwing axe here from Gloin straight into Aragorn's back. It hits. Oh, and it wounds. That is the last wound of Aragorn. He's got Fate, which he passes. So a Fate off Aragorn. Then sees Gloin in on Aragorn. Dwalin fighting Gimli. And Thorin into Aragorn as well. That is not good for the Fellowship as we go into the combat phase. Start of the combat phase, Aragorn is calling a heroic strike with his 3 point of might. Although, of course, we're going to start here with Bomber against Pippin. Oh, and again it goes to Pippin. He is a little monster. He's looking for a 6. He's done it. He's got a 6. He's wounded Bomber. Bomber is pushed back. And Bomber is 1 wound, 1 fate. This could be Pippin's time to shine. Oh, Bomber saves it with his last fate. Well, with his only fate. Leaving Bomber now 1 wound, no fate. That is good work there from Pippin. We then have Dwalin against Gimli. Gimli is going to be using his 3 axes. Well, his 2 axes to give him 3 attacks. And Dwalin is barely 2-handing. Oh, and again, Dwalin bottles it there. Only a 3 high gives Gimli a chance. Needs 5s to wound the defense 6 Dwalin. And there he does it with 2 6s. Dwalin is dead. That is a big, big swing there for the Fellowship. That is massive. Thorin and friend and Gloin there really need to bring Aragorn down this turn to be able to comfortably take this home. So Aragorn strikes. What does he strike to? To 10. He will be fainting and we'll let him set the bar. In fact, no, we'll let Thorin set the bar. Thorin gets 666. So if Aragorn doesn't roll a 6, he is cooked. Oh, and he gets it. He gets the 6. He is a lucky, lucky chap. Gloin and Thorin back away, and he's going to make his strikes now. He is going to go after Gloin. He needs 6s, and he does nothing at all, but he's not dead, and that is very, very important. We'll then roll priority for turn who knows, and again it goes to Thorin's company. That is not good for the Fellowship, as again Gloin is going to throw an axe straight into Aragorn's back. But he misses this time. That is good news for Aragorn, as he's straight in. And then Bomber on to Gimli. And Thorin on Aragorn. Which just leave Pippin free. And Pippin is going after Gloin. That's all of the moves. We'll go straight into the fight phase. It is quick and dirty now. The heroic strike for Aragorn takes him up high enough to be able to feint. And then it is simply 1-on-1. Aragorn against Thorin. But Aragorn has lost. Aragorn only getting a 4. He is in trouble. And takes 2 wounds. He's got 2 fate. He needs to save these. And he does. Both of those saved. He is now on 1 wound, no fate. And he backs away. We'll then do Gimli against Bomber. It is 3 attacks for Gimli. Yep, so he's going to go for his 3. And he wins. He just needs 4s to wound Bomber. And he does it. He gets 1 and has killed Bomber. That is good work there. Although Pippin is against Gloin and he is in trouble. We have 1 for Pippin against Gloin. No chance. He's been able to hold his own against Bomber, but Gloin is in a different class. And he puts 1 wound onto Pippin. He does have a fate, which he doesn't pass. Pippin is dead. It's now 2-on-2, but Aragorn is in dire straits with 1 wound, no fate. Let's just roll for priority straight away. It goes to the Fellowship. We'll come back after them. So Gimli is going to charge into Thorin, throwing an axe on his way in. He doesn't do anything there. And then Aragorn is on Gloin. With a 3-point of might, Aragorn strikes, and he strikes high enough. Yep, with a 5, he's high enough to feint. So he is going to be feinting against Gloin. It's 3 on 3. Oh, and he loses the fight. And then Gloin will be wounding on 5s. And Aragorn is dead. Oh dear. Aragorn falls, and now Gimli against Thorin. This is massive now. Gimli needs to kill him very soon. He has won the fight there. Just a 5 high for Thorin. Can he miraculously bring down the King of the Dwarves? Thorin with the shield is defense 7, so Gimli needs 6s. And he doesn't do it. So Thorin backs away and will roll for priority. It goes to Thorin's company. So Gloin lobs an axe into his face. He hits and wounds Gimli on his way in. And they go in, getting the trap. That is going to be painful. Gimli's going to set the bar with 3 6s. That's incredible. The odds of that happening are very slim, and it's already happened on this video. That is impressive. Gimli there with all the 6s. So can Gloin do the same? He doesn't, but he does get a 6. So it's a roll off. 1, 2 or 3. It's evil. So that is not good for Gimli. Gloin, double strikes, needing 6s against a wounded Gimli. Oh, he puts 3 wounds in and kills his own son. Gimli cannot withstand that, not when a throwing axe split his helmet already, and Gimli is dead. And that is the game. Thorin and Gloin survive, and the Fellowship have been wiped out. After a very close and brutal arena battle, Thorin's company have taken first place and have wiped out the Fellowship of the Ring. Hope you enjoyed this game. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.